So look, how are you looking today? In recent times, one of the most successful crossovers from the kickboxing world to MMA on a 4-fight win streak.
That's
the one with PFL.
yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing some of his tactics and strategies, bringing that kickboxing skill set to MMA. So a warm SBG welcome, Mr. Ben Willis. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you guys. Yeah, pleasure to be here, boys. Yeah, one of the things that you're saying there, I think transferring over from like kickboxing and Thai boxing to MMA, there's such like a discrepancy in styles where people don't normally cater for it, and I think there's a way that we can kind of like bring high-level kickboxing and Thai boxing over into MMA, and it's little subtleties that we do that with. Like, I think it's why some high-level kickboxers struggle to transfer over and they become gun-shy, but we'll go over those things throughout today, yeah? We'll just start shadow boxing, just get nice and warm, and then we'll start building from there, yeah? Just a nice loose shadow to start, and then we'll start moving around with each other, okay? Just so I can see your bases and stuff. All right, guys, so just quickly, we're going to move into a drill where we're moving with somebody, but one thing that I want us to focus on, I think the most important thing transitioning from kickboxing and Thai boxing into MMA is our base. You see, like I say, high-level Thai boxers here or kickboxers in this forward shell. It's real easy to outmaneuver them in MMA and stuff, and I think it's different when the guards change with the gloves and stuff. I think the most important bit is our base and our footwork, and everything from here then builds up. What I see a lot of people doing is when we're moving, we're either breaking our position by bringing our feet together. So sometimes if I'm moving backwards with an opponent, we'll start leading like lead foot first. But there's always a point where I'm in a broken position, and here I can't do anything. I can't advance forwards, backwards, I can't attack, I can't counter. The last place I want to punch from or try and advance forward from is here, yeah? Same if I'm moving to the side and I'm bringing my feet together in these positions. These are spots that I'll always look for when someone's moving, and I'll try and capitalize. The second that they break their position, I know they're not really much of a threat, so I can just crash into position, right? So when I'm moving, I want to be in my strongest, most optimal stance, and normally that's going to be our sprinting position. If I'm going to push somebody over, naturally they're going to come into a position, if you stand strong, where you're going to lower your base, yeah, like this sprinting position here. This is going to be my fastest way to be able to push forward, to push back. And as long as I can keep this stance everywhere I'm moving, I'm always going to be in a position where I can counter, I can get myself out of danger. If I have hurt them, I'm able to push forward and then carry on attacking. Yeah, so this is going to be my optimum position that I want to carry with me everywhere I'm going. So if I am moving to my left-hand side, I always want to go left foot first, so at a moment's notice, if I need to attack, if I need to counter, I've got my base rooted into the floor, but I've got my upper body torso and I've got my feet, okay? So I want you to go with a partner, and I want one person to lead moving forwards and backwards, but I want you to focus on keeping your strongest position that you can all the time. So a position that at a moment's notice, if I was to clap and you needed to be in a position where you could sprint forward, sprint back, slip and counter, then that should be with you all the time, yeah? Okay, so have a little move around here. Be in that strong position, elevated back foot. As soon as this back foot goes flat, then that's the end of the line, yeah? If someone's pressuring me and I've got a flat back foot here, I eventually trip over my feet and I'm in a bit of a shit position. If I've got this elevated back foot here, at no point am I ever in a position where I can't move. I'm always in a position where I can move backwards, I can outmaneuver my opponent by moving side to side. I'm in a position where I can spring into a counter, or from this engaged back leg, yeah? Engage the back leg, keep this sprinting position here, so I've got this upper torso movement, I've got my feet underneath me, and I can just glide out of range. So one person will just be moving around forwards and backwards, the other person will just be following and mimicking, yeah? Make sense? So have a little go with that, and then we'll start building off that, okay? But the focus is on that structural position, that sprinting position, where at a moment's notice you can slip, you can counter, you can move forwards, backwards, yeah? Just be mindful of that position, all right? Okay, let's go.
If you're involved in boxing or Muay Thai, or you're looking for martial arts to change your life, then we've got something here for you.
If there's any young fighters out there, young martial artists that want to learn, Ben Willis has one of the best online instructional libraries that you can ever see.
So I've been involved in martial arts for over 20 years. Along that journey, I've collected 2 world titles and trained with some of the best people in the world. I've trained with champions from the UFC, from ONE FC, and world champions in all different disciplines. While on that journey, I've also trained across the globe and been lucky enough to train with some of the best instructors. Like I say, being involved in combat sports for 20 years is a long time, and I went through a lot of mistakes during that time. So that's why the 365 platform has been created so you don't have to go through the same mistakes. Join the movement and a community of other fighters just like yourself, and I'll see you inside.
So straight away, my body position, I'm already changing my distance, and I'm always in a position where I'm ready to fight. Yeah. If I go lead foot here, I almost gallop out of the way, but at 1 second, I'm out of position. Yeah. See what I mean? Yeah. Once we've got our foundation and our feet rooted, yeah, and we've got a good base, we're then able to attack and defend, all right? Defense for me is the most important part of everything. If we can be safe and be defensive minded and we're real good there, then there's no real need to stress about anything, you know? So for me, like, defense unlocks everything. So I think lock that down easy. And it's not like, you watch like a lot of defensive stuff and you'll see like Canelo moving their head and stuff, Lomachenko, big footwork, but it all comes from building and fundamentals. So you'll see those little snippets, but they're tiny little snippets of a 36-minute fight or something, you know? Everything else wants to be like minimal and effortless. So for me to get out of the way of a jab, if I'm here, I don't need to be all the way out of range here. This is a waste of movement, okay? All I need to do to get out of the way of the jab is literally this motion here, yeah? So if I can work in these little motions here, I can effortlessly get out of the way without expending too much energy, but it also gives me the opportunity to glide out of the way and then come back in and get my own shots off. So a little drill that I want us to do here is your partner's gonna hold the backhand, yeah, so it's more realistic to where you're gonna be punching, and then your partner's gonna swing a hook back, right? And all we want is this back leg and just shuffle out of the way, okay? So now we can be creative on the outside, so we're not just singularly throwing in one phase. I'll be here moving a little bit, showing fakes, I'll shoot the shot and then I'm just gliding out of range. The partner will throw the left hook back and I'm just coming out of position here. Then I'm just using my feet. As long as I can control range and I can glide out of the way with my feet, then it's real hard for you to get hit, yeah? If they can't beat the feet, then they can't hit you, okay? So you're always here, keeping this structural base under us, we're jabbing and we're gliding. The second part that you're going to advance onto this is I want your partner every now and then to move in 2 phases, okay? So instead of me just hopping back and then breaking my position, if I'm here, like I say, and this back foot's flat, I'm in a terrible position. If they then advance again, I start fumbling over my stance and I start having to guard in this shell position. If I keep this back foot engaged and I jab and I slide out of the way and they attack again, but I'm in a position, I can just double push out the way or I can glide off to the side, okay? So I go here, but I'm aware of my position and then I can come back into position, yeah? As long as I don't break the foundations. So this is what I mean, where like everything comes from here and then we can build off from there. So now we're just gonna move around, creativity with a lead hand, yeah, little fakes, little movements, jab, glide out of the way, jab, glide out of the way. Every now and then your partner will move in 2 phases and you just keep your feet and your base underneath you, all right? Okay, little build on that. On that, and then we'll carry on moving, but there's a position, the same way that things want to be layered in our defense. So primary defense always wants to be my feet. It's the easiest way for me to stay safe, yeah? If any punches are coming and I can use my feet, then I don't get hit, easiest way of defending, okay? If I'm starting to break my position, so I can see a lot of people starting to like lean back from this position. Same again, this should be like my last resort or if I've set up a counter. So if I'm ready to intercept and I know that shot's there, then maybe then I will start to pull back and I'll look to counter. But primary defense, I don't really want to break my position only to defend. If I'm breaking my position just to defend the jab to say, I've put myself in a terrible position only for something that I could have just done this with. Does that make sense? So if I start leaning back here, I've got nowhere else to go from here if I'm not looking to counter. So opt for the feet first. If they can't beat the feet, then they can't hit you, yeah? So no matter what shots are coming, whether it's kicks or punches, as long as I've got good footwork, then I can just move out of the way all the time. I'm not going to break this position. So when you are looking for these positions, use the feet first unless you're ready to intercept or counter. If I'm confident that I've started to understand the shots that are going to come from my partner, so if I know a jab's coming, then I can start to be in position and I can start to look for my counters. But when I'm building on that and I'm getting a gauge of what's going on and a jab's come in, I just want to keep safe here. I'm just looking at what's going on, seeing how they're moving, yeah, just being here. Then when the shot's on, then I'll look to break my position and counter, yeah? So just be aware of that with the footwork. Instead of just leaning for the sake of a single defense, you're breaking your position for no return, yeah? So use your feet first, get used to that, and then if you're looking to intercept and counter, then make sure you're using that broken position to counter on that, yeah?